And part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back.
Now, she's talking about South Africa, and before we move any further, we need to explain what South Africa is. You see, in the United States, if you're born there, you're an American citizen, and you have the same rights as everyone else, and your property is that of what you have. But South Africa is this mystical place. It's a land of magic and a land of mysticism where the rules are different. And if you're born there, that doesn't mean you belong there. It's very important to look at your family tree because they operate apparently on a principle of blood and soil. And so if you happen to be the son of the president and you're just born in a generation of wealth, that's fine because you have the correct heritage, you have the correct genetics. Your parents just happen to fuck right. But if you happen to be born on a farm, you're not really South African, okay? You're still German, as we're going to see from CNN or wherever you came from. And you don't really own property. Like, it can be taken from you at any point and you can be thrown on the street. But at the same time, America shouldn't give you asylum because you're not really being persecuted. All right? Does this make sense? No? I'll explain why later. But first, let's watch the rest of the clip.
That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans. And so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land just like we do. And that is for them to, so if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No. They can
These refugees are coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Right, so basically they have to go back. Very progressive, very forward-thinking, academic, right? Everyone should believe this or not. I don't know, depends where you are. It may be hate speech. In some cases, it's not. But the interesting thing is, like, they shouldn't go to America. They should go to Germany. In other words, don't go where she is, not in her backyard. But leave Africa. Okay. You know, I wondered how exactly did woke ideology manage to dominate? Because it did. And you have to wonder, what exactly did this ideology have that was so extremely seductive? And it took me a lot of years to figure it out, believe it or not, despite the fact that on my channel I have talked about a lot of woke articles. And I think other fellow content creators like Sargon of Akkad still hasn't figured it out. And that is the fact that there are two types of people on Earth. And most of us don't realize this because we are part of one group of these people and we assume that everyone else is like us. But the reality is far from the truth. Both of these people exist and are valid. And if you don't understand how they operate, you cannot persuade them. You cannot talk to them. You cannot negotiate with them. And so I am part of the group of people that are rational. At least I like to think so. In other words, if you want to change my mind, you have to reason with me. You have to show me certain things that persuade me based on evidence, based on fact, based on consistency. Because otherwise, I'm not changing my mind. I don't care how much you cry. I don't care how much you feel. If you cannot persuade me logically of something, I personally can't believe it, right? Like for me, 2 + 2 = 4, no matter how much you bitch about it. There's no peer pressure. There's nothing you can do to convince me that 2 + 2 = 5. But the reality is there are groups of people that believe 2 + 2 = 5. And if you Google that, you'll find many academic articles that make this argument. And these people function on an emotional basis. They function on a peer pressure basis. Again, these people exist in the world. You can't pretend they don't. you can say that they're not valid, but at the end of the day, when they go into that voting booth and they put the stamp there, their vote is exactly as much as yours. When they give $1 at the convenience store, their dollar worth exactly the same as yours. When they're competing for a job, in some professions, they can take your spot. And so how do these people operate? What does it mean that they operate on an emotional basis? Well, when you make arguments to them, you have to make them exactly like Keir Starmer made the arguments when talking against illegal immigration. You don't say illegal immigration is bad because we need to have a British culture, like no country can function without one culture. That doesn't work for them. You have to make the story like we need to travel the road together. We do not let people behind. You have to frame it in a really nice emotional way, right? And so these people, they don't operate on rationality. They operate on what feels good. And they also operate on what the other people think. And so even if they know 2 + 2 = 4, if everyone in the room is saying 2 + 2 = 5, they will lie so that they get the group acceptance. I can't fucking do that. I just can't. But again, I'm part of one group of people, and I'm pretty sure most of you are because you're following my channel on the same group. But I do know that these other people exist, right? And so when you look at woke ideology, she doesn't care if it's consistent. She doesn't care if the idea of you have to go back to where you came from is something that's anti-woke. It's something that's racist. What she cares is how will other people think if I say it? How would I feel if people from South Africa are coming here and voting Republican? That's what she cares about. And that's what other people like her also care about. And so there's no reasoning. There's only emotion. These individuals don't even believe in the ideology that wokeness preaches. They don't care about the logical consistency or anything. What they do care is that they have a group that gives them belonging, that they are seen and validated, and that they can get power from this ideology. It's how does this benefit me and how does this benefit my group? That's it. So if you want to convince them of why they should take immigrants from Africa, for instance, you have to frame it in a way that benefits their group. You don't go and you talk about oppression and system. They don't care about that, right? Like that's the window dressing. The only thing that they would probably care if you showed them pictures of starving children. And you're like, well, we need to take these 20 because otherwise they starve. And that's maybe a way to motivate and move them. But even then, it depends who you're talking with. Because like if you're talking with activists and people that are there to grift, then they will not care. Especially not on television, right? Because like the whole grift is to maintain ideological purity so you get donations from other people. And so those individuals are not going to agree with you no matter what. But if you talk with someone on Twitter, if you talk to a random person and they're woke and you frame it in a way, yeah, but like these people can start jobs and businesses, or, we have shortages, the economy is poor, and these people can blah, blah, blah. Maybe then. But again, they're also driven by peer pressure, right? So the only way to persuade them is to persuade that actual in-group of friends, family, close relatives. One of the few people that managed to do this is Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump actually did form a coalition, and he managed to get more left-leaning people to vote for him than other Republicans. And you do it like you will see if his policies are successful, and if he actually accomplishes the promises that he had, you're going to see that the next Republican president, if he keeps up what Donald Trump did, is going to get an even higher exponential number, because this type of emotional people are very difficult to sway on your side, but once you get the ball going, it rises exponential, because it's not like a rational person where you just use reason and logic and all of a sudden they switch sides. The way it works is you sway the group, right? So like you sway, let's say a group out of 8, you sway 3 people and the group starts to buckle, but they still don't join you. Even though you swayed them, even though they're on your side, they're still with the group. Only when you start swaying 6 or 7 people does the entire group flips to you. So when you understand this, you not only understand how woke ideology works and why people believe in it, but you also understand how to convince them on your side. And more importantly, it's not just that people believe in woke ideology, it's where the funding comes from, right? Like it's the top-down stuff where money is being pushed into doing activism, into doing propaganda, into doing agitprop and all this stuff. But you also got to realize that the public does matter. Like the masses of people does matter, because woke ideology was tried to be pushed in Eastern Europe and it failed, right? So like if the masses start rejecting it, if people just turn around and go like, no, this is not for me, no matter how much money they put, no matter how much censorship they have, it will still fail. So anyway, hopefully you found this interesting. I certainly did. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.